We're so excited to have you back in town after all these years. You helped us so much um, create this community that we all so love. Thank you,
Well,
thank you for all you did.
it is an honor to be able to put my shoulder to the wheel to help you guys for
Well,
sure.
and you're part of this community as far as we're concerned. You know that. You got your official T-shirt
Yeah, I
tonight.
did get the T-shirt, and it's always so strange because we make these great relationships during the workshop process, and we tell the community like, oh, by virtue of going through these workshops, you'll have great relationships with each other, and it works on us too, right? So then I'm done with the workshops, and I'm like, wow, gosh, I really wish I could see those guys again. So it's really wonderful to be back and see so many of those happy faces that I have such good memories of. So, and also all the new people too. So it's really
So
exciting.
you helped us design this community.
Mm-hmm.
So this is your first time back.
Yep.
What do you think?
I think it came out great, and I think it's also really interesting to see how it shifts from that moment. It kind of like leaves my hands and goes into the world, and I feel like those changes are an evolution, an adaptation of it becoming more like what the people want it to be. So I don't view that as a diminishment or a loss. I think it's an enrichment of it, and it's also I've understand things very spatially. So there's like nothing that happened here that was surprising to me. It's like, oh yeah, of course, this is exactly how it would feel and look, because that's how my brain works. But the real magic is in, and I've said this to groups before, when I do the first workshops, I have this ability, because of experience, to sort of see into the future of like, oh, this is what they're going to be like in community and how it's going to be for them, and like to create to make these buildings as containers for that kind of like life and love and connection to unfold is it's a great thing to be able to do for a living, but also I feel like I can see the end of the story before you guys do, and so I'm like, this is going to be great, but you don't know it yet. This is going to be awesome, but you guys don't. You still have to go down the path, and I've already read the last chapter.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, and I feel like it's true. It holds up. I come in here, I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what it was always going to be.
So you help build the container for that future to occur.
Yeah, it's like a set designer for a really wonderful play. Yeah. It's just the backdrop, artwork.
I love that. So we oftentimes get asked, tell us about cohousing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get asked that, what's your, because not only do you help communities design cohousing all across the country and,
Right.
and actually outside of the United States as
Yeah.
well, but you've lived in cohousing for 18 years and were involved in designing that community.
Yep.
So talk about cohousing personally.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the audience, right? And if I'm just trying to talk to somebody who I don't know very well, who, I'm kind of trying to feel them out and understand, where their affinity for this sort of thing might lie, I'll ask them more questions and talk about like, well, you and your college friends ever talk about like buying some land and doing some like little casitas or, ADUs or homes together. Oh yeah, we've talked about that. Oh yeah, so like usually you can find within somebody these affinities. They're there in everybody. Everyone wants to be connected with each other. They all want to be known. They all want to live in a place where they don't feel threatened, where it's like, oh yeah, I can be there and I can be myself and like just actually be myself, even if it's like the sad, tired, boring version of myself, not the super exciting version of myself, the one I'm proud of, And so once you kind of start to find those strings, you can see where people's ability to understand what we're doing is, because that affinity or that personal desire that they have, I think is pretty universal. There's some of us who prefer more isolation or but there's also versions of co-housing for them too. So some of it is in that kind of level. Sometimes I just talk about the experience of like raising kids. If I'm doing a tour of a co-housing community for developers, right, and I see there's like a couple of young parents in there, I might emphasize more like, well, if you imagine like, raising your little kids and looking at your kitchen window and like letting them go out the back door to play with other kids, and you don't have to arrange play dates, you don't have to like orchestrate things, and they can come in when they're ready, or you can get them for dinner. The parents of young kids resonate with that. They're like, oh my God, I want that. How can I have that? And if I'm talking to, older people, I'm like, yeah, it's like really tough. Like after your kids move out and, all of a sudden you're sort of like, why am I rattling around this big old house? What am I doing here? And, I really want to just like hang out with some friends. And like, what if I just had a porch where I could go out there and people would stop by and say hi and they knew my name, you know, and I could like then get together for community meals and share all the tough things that, you know, you have to share in life, like taking people to the doctor's office and, you know, gardening together and all these things. That, you know, rooting in an experience, I guess, is maybe the, you know, trying to find out what the person I'm talking to is going through or where they're at, and then relaying what experiences would be offered to them by living in co-housing. Because I do think it's a rich, wonderful thing, and it's also choose your own adventure, right? You make it be whatever you want it to be.
Well, Bryan, we are so happy to have you.
It's so cool
Bryan
to be back.
Bowen of Caddis.
Yes.
Which has a wonderful story about the name of Caddis, which has to do with fishing.
It does, yep.
And we were one of our fabulous architects as we developed Heartwood Commons here in Tulsa.
Yep.
Thank you for coming to visit us.
Absolutely. I will be back, and I love being here with you guys.
And you have a connection to Tulsa, so we certainly hope that you will be back.
Family relationships, yeah.
You
yeah.
do.
So.
You do. We love you.
We love you too.
Okay.